idea, where's their skin in the game? Are they going to, I guess their ante is as well, we're going to help pay the operating costs. Well, we'll see if that actually comes up, because I'm sure the revenues are not going to exceed the operating costs. I have no reason to believe that. Show me. I guess one final, and this is probably, but my thought is taking federal dollars is, like encouraging a raging alcoholic to continue to just have a light beer instead of a whiskey. You're just feeding another, his raging addictions, and that's what we're doing with the federal government. So, anyhow, enjoy your transit center. Don't think I'll ever see the inside of it.
Thank you. Charlene Feminino? Charlene, if you'll wait a moment, I'll call the next 5. You can come on up to the podium. Sam Crowell, I called his name before. Maybe he's left. Ed Graycheck? Bart Fuller? Michelle Hodges? And Bruce Bloomendale? Charlene, go ahead.
Hi. Well, I just want to say, you can tell from that other lady that spoke before what the attitude is of those people who support these expensive projects, which is, if you don't like it, just leave. So for the old people that can't afford their medications or struggling families, we should remember that, and remember the people on this council that voted for this boondoggle. This is their attitude also for the library, when I was sitting out there with my sign, because I felt that we had the money for the library, that we didn't need it. It's the same thing. Well, if you don't like it, just leave. Move out of Troy. This is the mentality. It's really kind of sad. And also, I'd like to address the question of the people always saying, we have to come to consensus. Let's stop fighting. We must not have people, at odds over issues. Well, the bottom line is that the words consensus don't appear at the Declaration of Independence. They don't appear in the Constitution. They're not in the debates for the Constitution either, because this country was founded as a majority rule country. We are not supposed to all get along. And there's an old Chinese saying, when all men think alike, only one man is necessary. This is the lifeblood of a republic. A democratic republic is disagreeing on things. Also, I was watching the television the other night, and they had a guy on there, his name was George Jackson, talking about the high-speed rail system that they want for Detroit. And he said, no transit system makes money. They always run a deficit, an operating deficit. And this is what we're going to have to deal with. We've got now going to have a millstone around our neck. None of the businesses will put up their money, nor will they indemnify Troy against any losses. So that should have told everybody what we need to know. If they won't put up their money, why should we have to put up ours? There is no demand for this. This council, I know there's some new people now, but prior councils have just had a field day wasting millions and millions of dollars on junk. We could have been paying for college educations for our children, people who need medical care or whatever. You're diverting all this money from people who really need it for junk. It's really kind of sad. And also, I want to say I kind of wonder if this UN, this is part of the UN Agenda 21. But I also want to say another thing that just came to my mind that made me think. When I was up north, because I have a place up there, I read that 3 Benzie County council people were recalled. And the reason they were recalled is because they found out they had a developer up there wanting to put in wind turbines. And the council voted against having a feasibility study. They voted against the environmental impact. So people did some looking, did a little digging. And what they found is those people had already signed leases with the developer and stood to profit off of those wind turbines. So it makes me wonder if anybody on this council would be willing to swear an oath saying that they personally, nor any of their family or friends or acquaintances, are in any way going to benefit financially from this transit center. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Crow? Ed Graycheck?
Mayor Daniels, City Council. We didn't have the money for the library. How we have, where was the Chamber of Commerce when we were fighting for the library, and the council wanted to shut it down because we didn't have the money? Where were they when they, how come they didn't step forward with the money then? They were talking about how bad the city was going to look without a library. And now all of a sudden they have the money for a Troy multimodal center? And it was kind of comical. Well, it wasn't really comical because this isn't funny. When a couple members of council tried to put some teeth into this thing with the overruns, and how other members of council it seems like they're trying to protect Hubbell, Roth, and Clark. So I don't understand all that. You know, if we're going to do this, let's put some teeth in it so that we don't have a cost overrun and get hit with us. Who's going to pay for the overruns? You know, the federal government doesn't have any money. We're $16 trillion in the hole. Yet everybody says, well, this is federal money that we're going to lose. Where's the money coming from? It's coming from us, the taxpayer. $16 trillion in a hole. This should go back into the fund to save this country. And maybe that $2 million, though, since we are saving $2 million here, maybe we could put the library in that building. That could take care of a lot of stuff. Then we wouldn't have to worry. Then they could take care of it for us, the Chamber of Commerce. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Bart Fuller. Michelle Hodges.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you. And I hope that no one in this community feels alienated from this decision. It would be our hope to work closely with all of the stakeholders of Troy, because this truly is what is best for our community. And we hope it is seen as our commitment to fiscal responsibility and government transformation. We see this as scalable to other areas of the community and hope to see that happen. And we pledge to serve with honor, and we want you to know that we take this responsibility very seriously. So thank you, and we salute you.
Thank you. Bruce Bloomendale. Mr. Bloomendale, if you'll wait a moment, I'll call 5 more. John Lavray, Jonathan Witz, Antoine Delafort, James Binkowski, and Linda Kaima. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'd like to compliment both Dane Slater and Wade Fleming for what I consider they're doing their due diligence. I regret the loss of the energy-saving components because I do believe we need to do everything we can to reduce our dependency on foreign oil. To date, this city has been built on a vision, slogan, the city of tomorrow, today. I would also like to thank Councilwoman McGinnis and Councilman Campbell for voting for this resolution. I think that each of you have had the courage, the strength, and the wisdom to do what was right, even in the face of threats and attempted intimidation. I think it bodes well for the future of the city, both the residents and the businesses of Troy. I would also like to thank our city staff. I think they've shown their professionalism, their agility, their ability to respond quickly to the directions and responses or requests of the council. I've lived in this city for a long time, and I think that from the police department through Public Works, through city staff, that we have one of the finest collections of civil servants anywhere. I'd be happy to brag on any of them, Mayor. I think they do a fine job. I think they need to be complimented and reminded of the fact that we do appreciate them. So with that, I wish everybody a good evening, and thank you.
Thank you. John Love.
Hi. I wanted to come down and see this piece of history, so it was interesting to see. One of the things that concerned me just looking at the contract before I talk about the other issue here is it says it shall not exceed a certain amount. Well, I'd like to see something that says, well, it's going to cost less, because I'm just sure it's going to come in at that number. I don't think it'll be less. They'll find a way to spend right up to the limit. I looked at the presentation here and just saw quite a few opportunities to save money on the design. Here's what I saw, just having never seen it before. The Troy Transit Center, that's 17 letters. You could have just put Troy, would have said it all without all of this extra verbiage, because it's probably $500 a letter. And I noticed that the bridge sign went from just welcome to welcome to Troy, so they added another 7 letters on that, so that's up to 15,000 right there. The clock, they don't need a clock like that. That thing will cost an arm and a leg too. 2 flagpoles. I don't know what the heat bill is going to be, but I know what my heat bill is, and 30,000 isn't going to cover the heat bill on this project. I don't know who's going to pay that bill. Oh, maybe this rail tax. But those are just some observations, just looking at it roughly. The big problem is this country is in a total mess. Absolute mess. This is free money. It comes out of the federal sky. Wayne County is going to build a new jail and tear down their old jails when there's a vacant jail down there. They're paying 9% on their bonds. That's more than I pay on my home equity loan. And this is how Wayne County is being run. But it's subsidized from the federal government. That's why we're in this mess. And this trolley folly that they're trying to put through in Detroit was $500 million. And that thing was just a losing operation. They call it light rail. A streetcar is a streetcar. But they even have the temerity to change the definition of a light rail to somehow mask this stupid project that they had going. I'm concerned about the future of our country. The Chinese, my dad worked for a company that was here in Troy. They went over to China, and then the Chinese stole the company, making electric batteries. These people are taking our jobs, and the country they're letting them do it. And it's just sad to see how this money is continually wasted, because if this is, $6 million, multiply that, say there's 10 in the state of Michigan, there's 50 states, how much of this money is just going into these make work, create projects instead of something of value? Our educational system in Michigan is below average in performance in the United States. The United States is below average of the industrial world. We have 750 school districts in Michigan. Now they're talking about doing something with Highland Park finally. The whole education system is bankrupt, and the whole thing is bankrupt. I gave you that thing about the beer tax. Well, the lobbyists run the state of Michigan. They have the gall to freeze the beer tax for 50 years in Michigan. That's just obscene. And that's the kind of leadership we have. And Schneider and the entire Senate, Republicans and Democrats, voted to repeal the liquor store party tax. That's because the liquor stores had suffered enough in Michigan. We're going to let the retirees take up the slack. That's how this country is being run. It's just sad. But I appreciate you coming down and spending your evening here. I know how thankless it is to listen to all us go on and on. But let's have a good year. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan Witz.
Good evening, City Council. I have no prepared remarks, so this might sound a little rambly. I'm also embarrassed that, I haven't been here. Last time I was in front of, this council, I was honored to get an award for, being a Troy citizen who helped put the Super Bowl activities together, and I'm involved in a lot of special events and work around town and run into a lot of folks, and I realized as this controversy was going on, I'm ignoring my city where I've lived for 11 years, and I'm raising my kids and putting them and seeing them go to good schools. And so I don't have all the facts on this, and I'm only going to speak to my gut, and which is that a good thing happened today. I consider myself an independent. I've worked closely with the county executive, worked closely with Gary Peters, know the governor, and there were just a lot of people who've done a lot of research that were in favor of this. I do trust the chamber, unlike some folks in here, and I think the majority of things that they've done has been, very positive. I trust the spirit of compromise and consensus that was just railed on, which is what our society is missing right now. I mean, people are not working, together for the good and not finding common ground. And I think that's what appears to, have happened here. I agree with a couple of things at the end of the gentleman who just spoke, in the sense that I think part of the reason the country's in the mess that it is that we've cut taxes while we've gone to war and made bad decisions. We have not operated responsibly. I certainly did better when I paid 6% more on my taxes than I'm doing, right now. The economy was better and people were spending on good things, and then war came in. I think that's what put the country in the mess, that we put our money there, not on expanding transit. Part of what has made this country great is that we built the infrastructure to move forward, and that's what is attempted to be happening. Certainly, we have our budget issues, but this is a way that's going to create jobs and business, and many public leaders, including the governor, who I don't always agree with, support this. And I trust, that judgment. And I'm making this pledge today to get more involved, in the city. And I want to congratulate, the people that made this happen, because my gut feels that it's absolutely the right thing that happened today. I want to also pass on one thing. I've noticed the people that have spoken, I've not seen many, I don't know what my age would be, but, parents or families, speaking today. And I just want to say that I coach 3 teams, in Troy Parks and Rec, the Troy Soccer Club. I'm in Lifetime Fitness in Troy all the time. And I maybe bumped into 75 people about this issue and had conversations. And I didn't run into one person that was against this issue. Everybody was in favor of seeing this happen that I've run into. But you know what? None of us were here. So, shame on those people, and shame on me for not getting out here and speaking. But I wanted to say that I want to get more active in my city. I'm well connected. I think I can help out and provide a good voice when I do the research. I don't have it done. I can only speak from my gut tonight that a good thing was done, and I applaud those people that made it happen. And as far as the Kresge Foundation, the gentleman that took shots at them, they are one of the highest quality foundations, and they do so much good work in this community. And it just, for someone to speak and some of the negative stuff, on that is insane. It's just absolute insanity. And the other, oh man, I'm losing my thought. How much time do I have, Mayor?
53 seconds.
53 seconds. So I'm going to borrow about 13 of them because I'm getting old and I can't remember what the other thing I wanted to close with. Oh, and for the people that are doubting, there's certainly some question and controversy over light rail on the project, but I'm also doing a lot of things in Detroit, and I'm putting on the Winter Blast Festival coming up again. It's been a struggle to raise the money. Certainly there's better things you can spend stuff on. But I want to say the energy in Detroit and the people that are behind rail are some significant folks that are doing a lot of good things in the city. And there's a lot of power behind seeing these kind of things go forward. The Quicken Loans folks and Dan Gilbert, who's bringing employees to the city and trying to make things happen. There's a lot of people behind this, stuff and trying to see things move forward. And I agree with the woman who had said there's a lot of pressing issues in education and everything and that, but my gut says that a good thing happened today. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Antoine Delafort, James Binkowski, and Linda Klima.
Mayor Daniels, I knew you wouldn't be able to remember my name. City Council. I don't come here very often. I used to when it was just one meeting a month. I wish to God you would revert to that schedule. I doubt it will ever happen. I don't like the way this operated. You had a meeting beforehand and comments afterwards. But it's par for the course. You held back on the numbers of what the actual money was in the budget before the vote for the library, and all of a sudden, miracles, we actually had the money. So afterwards, the city gets an award for their financial acumen. And I wonder if this transit center, if it comes in at $6.25 million or whatever it is going to give them another award. There's some comments that were made by City Council that we should knuckle under. Here's my tax bill. I think I knuckle under enough. I think I don't have a problem with school debt. I got the SMART already on here. I'm smarting on that one. I've got the Zoo Authority. That was another essential program that we should have to be a better city, la-di-da, more enlightened, whatever. And now we have a library, and on top of that, an administrative fee to make this bill. It's my money, whether it comes from the city of Troy when I'm assessed, or whether it comes from my tax bill when I fill my, when I get my 1099 together and my 1040 and send all that in. It's our money. It comes from China, but eventually it gets right back to us. Don't ever forget that. That's where it comes from, us. Okay? So, here we have a letter that was in C&G newspaper 2 weeks ago from Mr. Irvin from Magna Corp. And his title is a political affairs officer of Magna Corporation. And he basically said, we want to expand in your city if you don't have these vital services. So I asked myself, well, here you have Magna Corporation, a huge concern, that is large enough to have a political officer. And this is a corporation that shops around for cities that are willing to give them a tax break so that they can locate. So they just essentially shop around so they don't have to pay their tax bill. And then he has a temerity to write an article say, we're not going to pay all our taxes, but we'd like you to have all these services or else. To which I'd give him a swift kick in the pants. But I imagine this is business. This is the same business that says we'll take care of this transit center. And if it doesn't come through, well, we have what? We have a letter? Okay? I'm 52 years old. I spent 22 years in the Navy. I've seen some government projects go through. The Navy always wondered how the Air Force can get these beautiful Air Force bases built. And the government would squawk. And you know what they would do? They would build the golf course, they would build the annex, they'd build all the other facilities, and when they'd run out of money, they'd go up to Congress and say, well, we're going to build this Air Force base, and we ran out of money. We haven't put in an airstrip yet. And you know, how does that pertain to here at City Council in Troy? So I'm going to tell you exactly how it's going to happen. I'll put a dollar against it. They're going to go with 6 million, well, 6 million some change. And what they're going to do is they're going to build the building, they won't come up, and they're going to say, oh, they won't let us open, they won't give us our occupancy permit because we're not ADA compliant. And we have to be ADA compliant, so we have to put these elevators in here and all these other knickknacks because we ran out of money. And that's how they're going to get around it, because I've seen it done. And if it's not that way, I'm sure they'll find another innovative way to get around it, because that's the nature of the beast. So I can't wait to see how this turns out, because I know you guys are going to be asking me for more money coming down the line. So it's going to be a pleasure talking with you. We'll see you later.
Thank you. James Binkowski.
I've been a resident of Troy for 38 years. I'm a registered professional engineer. I've been a procurement manager for projects as large as $1.6 billion. So I'm not just somebody here talking out of my hat. What I'm going to say to you is I have a tendency to read esoteric documents. One of the documents I've read here is the environmental report. In the environmental report, it addresses the preferred site for this project. In that document, it suggests, possibly by CN's recommendation, that the eastern tracks could be turned into a siding. Why? Because CN is closing down the eastern tracks. Somebody would have to pay for the switches, the maintenance, or whatever. The important part of this is that the train can be accessed from the eastern side. Trains, like cars, have doors on both sides. What does this mean? If we're going to shut down the eastern tracks, the only reason I can see for these elevators in this bridge has absolutely nothing to do with the disadvantaged, the wheelchair bound. What it is trying to do is keep people from crossing across a live set of tracks to get to the trains. In other words, if the eastern tracks were live, they wouldn't want people standing there to board a train, but the eastern tracks are going to be dead. This says there is absolutely no reason for the two towers and the bridge. I've asked Councilman Wade, when is CN shutting down the eastern tracks? They may be shut down now. It makes sense. CN is in the business of making money. They don't want to maintain two sets of tracks when they only need one due to the lack of traffic. What happens if CN comes along and decides they don't want to stop the Amtrak train on the western set of tracks because it interferes with the freight traffic? Is the city engineer here? I think the city engineer actually stated in the environmental report that it would be preferred to have a siding because it would not interfere with the freight traffic. So I am beyond myself in disbelief that we are sinking all this money into a bridge across some tracks when basically of the two set of tracks, one's going to be deactivated. You could access the train from the eastern side. And those of you who are not familiar with directions, that's the Troy side. Now, Pontiac's published report, they built their train for their train center for $1.4 million. I haven't done a takeoff. I haven't looked at the topography. I know our site's in a hole. Let me throw in $500,000 to run something and put a train station where you can walk outside the train, go to the western tracks, board the train. Let me put $500,000 in for earthwork. That means this thing can be built for $2 million. I asked Mr. Wade to show me the set of plans he was waving around this, and he gave it to somebody else. All I'm saying is I'm resigned to the fact of a train station. I think it's totally ridiculous, but I think it can be built for a fraction of the $8.4 million. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Kleiman?
We've heard from a lot of armchair architects, engineers, attorneys. You'd think that this project was just pulled out of a hat and thrown on the table as a motion and approved, but it wasn't. Years went into planning, a lot of planning. So I want to say thank you to those that voted for this. I know you're fiscally responsible, and I'm thanking you for doing the right thing for Troy. It's a good day in Troy. We're finally getting some positive feedback, some positive faces on the newspaper. I'm tired of the negativity. Hopefully this is the first step of many more to get our city back and make it the city of tomorrow today. I want to thank the Chamber for doing their diligence in helping make this a success. I want to thank staff, in particular Mr. Zerlag. I know it hasn't been easy, and I apologize for any mistreatment you've encountered in doing this. That's not representative of the citizens. And being representative of the citizens, I feel this vote was representative of the citizens and the businesses of Troy, not just the people that voted. Shame on those that didn't. This is a good thing for Troy. And I want to thank those, again, for making this the city of tomorrow today. And as far as people saying they didn't have a chance to speak, excuse me, where have you been the last few meetings?
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay. Mr. McMasters? Good evening.
I'm Bill McMaster with Taxpayers United Michigan Foundation. Excuse my tardiness in getting here. I was at the at the federal EPA public hearing downtown Detroit Hotel that was going on from 9 o'clock until 7:30. Out of the 70-some people who spoke, Taxpayers United was the only one who spoke in opposition to the 54 cents a gallon that the Obama administration has been fighting for. Reason for our opposition to the vote today was because we think you've been sold a pig in a poke. We have the assurance, in fact, your economic development fellow, Mr. Miller, was kind enough to call it a grant that was a pass-through coming from the Obama administration and through the Department of Transportation, U.S., and a couple other agencies, federal, and through the Michigan Department of Transportation, arriving at the front door of the city of Troy. Now, there are several concerns that Taxpayers United has over this now after the fact opportunity to speak to these points. And incidentally, we spoke vigorously 2 or 3 years ago against this project at the Birmingham City Council when they were hiring a $5,000 a month lobbyist to vote to lobby in Lansing for this project. And as you're aware, eventually the city fathers in Birmingham decided against having that participation at that time with City of Troy and City of Birmingham. Now, as far as the experience that we've had on this streetcar line to nowhere from Grand Boulevard and the old City County building, the old General Motors building to the new General Motors building downtown on the waterfront, that's 3.4 miles. It did grow from a $100 million project to a $500 million project, $500 million project, and that was over a period of 2 years. Now, Taxpayers United and our people have attended dozens of meetings as the state legislature attempted to create a authority that would encompass the streetcar line to nowhere down Woodward Avenue. And as the participants in that authority being created, Al Brooks Patterson, the Macomb County Executive Director, Wayne County, City of Detroit, even the governor's office got involved with the Michigan Department of Transportation. All of them were talking about creating this authority to represent the people. One major problem, the Headley Amendment in 1978, Headley Tax Limitation Amendment, prohibits any new unit of government from being created with taxing power without a vote of the people. And here we are with a precedent. Do you remember the term DARTA, Detroit Area Regional Transportation Authority? Well, went to court, went up to the Supreme Court, Michigan, and they knocked it down. Ordered DARTA, including Al Brooks and mayor of Detroit at that time, and others, to immediately dissolve DARTA. So here it comes again. We've got it now, according to Ray LaHood, the U.S. Department of Transportation, last Friday in Detroit, having a meeting with some of the same people and saying that we're going to recreate an authority that will combine all of the bus systems, SMART, and DDOT, bankrupt as it is, with Legacy.
It's your 5 minutes, yeah.
Okay. And they're going to go and try to get it including this Troy Center. So we are thinking that it is
Mr.
not...
McMasters, that's your 5 minutes. Please, if you could stop talking. Wrap up your sentence, please.
All right. Don't count on it being built.
Thank you. Yes, sir. If you'll announce your name, please.
My name is Andrew Davish. I've been a citizen for Troy for 2 years, and I want to thank you for passing the amendment to have the transit, center built. I believe it's going to be good for the community, and I believe that it's going to be great for the region as well, not just the city of Troy. I have a couple of things. It seems like the comments from the people here sitting in the chambers here today, a couple of things that come to mind are usually when I'm in a city council meeting or something, and the vote comes after hearing from the citizens. Your vote I was happy with, but I'm not happy with the fact that the citizens weren't allowed to speak first. I think that should have been done. And a couple things, people seem to fear the money cost that may trickle down to the taxpayers. And my idea is to join with the private sector. Maybe you can get Indian Trails or Greyhound to rent part of the center, or to combine your public transit authority with the private entities, and together the money that you get from the private sector will help pay for any bills or things that may not have been put into the budget or any kind of thing. And I think that would be great. I mean, especially with Greyhound, to have a center where Greyhound can come in and people can take a Greyhound bus from the Troy area to any other areas. Right now we have just Detroit and Pontiac that I could think of, in Ann Arbor. And if Troy was part of that, I think it would be a great thing. So that's all I wanted to say, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mrs. Martin?
Good evening. This is a very positive night in Troy, not just because the transit center is proceeding. A transit center, I might add, that's been in the works for 10 years, well-researched, 10 years of time for citizens to come speak. I myself have sat through or watched many a meeting where people had the opportunity to speak, whether or not tonight after the vote matters. There were plenty of opportunities. But it's also positive because our city council, city staff, and business leadership demonstrated a truly collaborative spirit in making this decision. The pragmatism and due diligence is exactly what this city needs to keep moving forward. I especially want to thank Councilman Fleming and Councilman Slater for taking the initiative to properly follow this through, working through a revised plan with Hubble, Roth, and Clark, and our outstanding city staff led by Mr. Zerlag. It's a testament to these councilmen that they were able to work together and bring about the revised idea for the entire council to consider. And the decorum and professionalism and open-mindedness demonstrated by the council majority are appreciated, especially given the frustration and misunderstanding from all sides coming at these elected officials in the recent weeks. There is nothing wrong with this well-researched, fact-based compromise. This is the Troy that we know and love and have been fighting for. Well done, City Council. Well done.
Thank you. Mr. Chair Searle? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I'll address my comments initially to Mr. Zerlag. Sir, I've lost confidence in your ability to manage this city. The drop-dead date for this project was supposed to be December 19th. At that time, you should have told us there was more time. You did not. That's not good. There appears to be a lack of negotiation capability on your staff. 29 days ago, we were told that the transit costs for this center could not be less than $7,800,000. At that point, Mr. Fleming said a definite no. all of a sudden, we have a change of 25%. That should have been negotiated, sir. It could have been, but it wasn't. The operating costs. Ms. Hodgins was up here a few minutes ago. After hearing about her letter, I didn't hear any comments from her about saying that they're definitely going to pay the operating costs. If you build it, they will come. I'm now going to read to you an email to Wade Fleming from Jerome Allen, January 17th, 3:19 p.m. Mr. Fleming, I have a client who wants to move to Troy for its headquarters and wants 80,000 square feet of space as a tenant or owner. They want to move there from their non-Troy headquarters precisely because they're impressed that a frugal mayor and some council members were elected. The real estate director made it clear to me that if a transit center is approved, it will prove that despite the newly elected city council members and mayor, that the other members are still going to spend and tax, and that the client's taxes will only increase. Bottom line, they will cancel their search and look elsewhere if this transit center is approved. They believe in deadlines, and now that the deadline has passed, people are trying again. I will be there tonight to see how the vote goes. They also realize that you are the swing vote. I hope and pray that you still say no. Signed, Jerry Allen. Now, I don't know if you read that or not, Mr. Fleming. You're the reason everybody was here tonight. You have not been consistent in your convictions. You have stated on numerous occasions that the cost of this transit center has been going up since the start of the program. Yet, over the last few weeks, you have allowed yourself to be bullied or coerced or whatever in raising your costs from $5 million to $6 million, and now it's $6.25 million. You're not a man of conviction, sir. We both know that this building will not bring any new business to Troy, yet you voted for it. When the public finally catches on to this building will become known as Fleming's Folly. It's quite a catchy name. Well, I sure hope you run for other offices. You'll love that moniker. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? Good evening.
Good evening. Madam Mayor, City Council, congratulations. City Manager John Zerleg, I am so disappointed to hear people come up and doubt you. I know a different city manager. I know a different experience. I witnessed Governor Snyder's budget director in a town hall laud you for leading this city through these difficult times. It's on video. If you'd like to see it, it is online if you go to CMN. I appreciate what you've done for the city. We have a 3-year budget that allows us to look forward, look into a crystal ball, and try to foresee problems, and you've done that very well for us, you and your staff and the City Council. Folks need to understand that that is what he has brought to this party. We win financial audit awards in this city. We are a city of integrity. To come up and claim otherwise does further damage to our reputation. That is not what we are. This is a quality city with a terrific city staff and a terrific city council. We need to start that drumbeat and start to trust one another. What I saw here tonight was trust. Even in your voting no, it was a definite maybe no. You're hoping that it'll go just fine, and I'm sure you're going to stand behind it going forward. You two gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for working together and for working through compromise. Councilman Fleming, I was upset at you after December 19th, and I apologize for that, and I appreciate what you did going forward. Thank you very much. There's been rich dialogue here, rich dialogue with the Troy Chamber, the city staff, Hubble, Roth, and Clark. This is good stuff. Feel good about it. Take a second and feel good about what we witnessed tonight. We need to do this. This is what Troy is. Thank you. Thank you very much for the leadership. Thank you for taking us forward. Sure, there could be doubts. I understand why people voted no. Let's just get behind this thing and make it work. There was a tremendous compromise here, and that's what it's going to take to keep moving leadership forward. Really appreciate it. It's solid leadership. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? If not, that concludes the meeting. Meeting is adjourned.
Your Honor, I wanted to, there's...
It says adjourned, right?
But you have response.
It doesn't say there's response on the agenda. I'm just following the agenda.
Should have been, shouldn't it?
Well, we should have had public comments before the vote, too, but this was the agenda.